The super popular and iconic life sim, except this time it makes you question what is and isn't real. This little game is full of fourth wall breaking, jokes, and meta humor. The Sims 2 is probably my favourite game of all time, or it's one of them at the very least. Despite not following its roots, The Sims 2 on the PSP gives you a fresh but familiar look into the world of The Sims 2. Development for the game was accredited to Amaze Entertainment. They also developed the other Sims 2 handheld games for the DS and GBA. For some reason, the Sims 2 wiki incorrectly credits it to Kryptonite Games. Moby Games has the correct information though. Not really sure how this mistake was made. Kryptonite Games was only credited for the Sims busting out on the URBS GBA ports. One thing to note though is that there is a character later on in the game named Sinjin, and while researching the credits, there is a thanks to Sinjin, who was the exec in charge of production. It might just be a coincidence, but I thought I'd bring it up. After creating your character, the game starts out with your sim on a drive out in the Strangetown desert, when suddenly you see a plumbob whiz right past them. And as they're trying to see what it was, their car breaks down and they have to roll it into a repair garage. This is where the game starts, and you can tell from the footage that we get full movement of our character and we can interact with objects and characters by pressing the cross button. There's no point in click movement here, because this game, unlike the PC version, is more an adventure game, sprinkled with RPG elements, than it is a life sim. Talking with the mechanic introduces us to the conversation system. It sort of resembles a visual novel style interface. He'll get angry and explain that he wants to chat, but aren't we doing that already? Well, in The Sims 2 for PSP, we have socializing minigames. These are chatting, flirting, and intimidation. They all function the same, but have different outcomes. You have to match up what the other sim is saying by selecting the correct response from below. Chatting with a sim increases your friendship with them, while flirting increases your romance level, and intimidation just makes them cry. Overall, I think they're done really well, and they help to break up the pace of the game a bit. My only issue with them is that after seeing the ending animations over and over again, I resort to using the emulator speed up mechanic to get past this. Socializing can sometimes be required for progression, so there's no avoiding it. You have to do it, you have to socialize, get out there and talk to people. But wait, what's this? Oscar thinks Michelangelo painted the Mona Lisa. This is our first secret in the game. We can find more of them hidden out in the world, or learn them by interacting with other Sims. I'll explain secrets more in depth later on though. Well, after chatting with Oscar, he'll direct us over to the Curio shop, where we'll meet Mambo Loa. Mambo Loa will want to give your sim a personality test. Well, after answering some questions, she'll determine your sim's aspiration type and personality. That's basically your star sign. You can disagree and pick for yourself though. Your aspiration determines your sim's life goals and the perks they can unlock, while the personality determines the sort of wants your sim will have. Fulfilling wants raises your aspiration level and earns aspiration points, and completing life goals are generally just prerequisites for some perks. I got the money sim aspiration, and she thinks my star sign is Cancer. If you played the PC version of The Sims 2, you're most likely already familiar with these concepts, and most of the perks you get help to prevent your needs from decaying. Needs are things like having a shower to needing to eat food. They're always slowly ticking away, but not as fast as the PC version. The needs basically just exist to prevent you from grinding a skill. I'll go over skills later on though. You'll want to keep fulfilling wants as your aspiration level keeps decreasing, and when it hits 0, your sim goes a bit loopy. Next, Mambaloa wants me to speak to Bella Goth. Yeah, that Bella Goth. We need to play the chat minigame with her, and this unlocks the secret that she is fleeing from town because she was abducted by aliens. If we keep chatting to her and max out our friendship, we can find out even more secrets from her. After this, Mambaloa teaches us about the flirt mechanic. This functions the same as the chat mechanic, except it raises the romance level with a sim, and eventually unlocks another secret. Don't worry though, she doesn't want me to flirt with her, she wants me to flirt with either the policeman Duncan who is outside, or with Bella Goff. Because I've got to get almost 100%, I flirted with almost everyone in this game to get all their juicy secrets. After practicing my Riz skills, I returned to Mambaloa and she directed me to check on my car. After getting there, my car and the entire fucking garage had vanished. All that's left is a mobile phone, and it's ringing. In my opinion, this is a perfect intro to the game. The tutorial is a little fourth wall breaking in areas, but then again, this is a Sims game and it isn't trying to be serious, so it really fits. This is something we don't really get anymore these days. Handheld and console ports of games had like these unique stories and gameplay that emerged from the limitations of the systems, and nowadays we just get like a direct port. Like The Sims 4 on the PS4 is literally just the PC game, but on a controller. Well, moving on. When I picked up the phone, the man on the other end asks cheekily, "Have you lost something?" The game tells me that his name is Dr. Dominic Nulo, and he offers me a job working for him, but explains that I'll need a place to stay, as well as needing a ride into town. Another thing he explains to us is perks. The mobile phone I just picked up is a perk. There are other perks too, and we can obtain them through crafting, buying them with aspiration points, and gaining them as we progress through the story, like the phone. Some are objects we can use, while others, like I already mentioned before, help to stop your needs from decaying as quickly. Earlier, on my way to the shop, I noticed that the policeman Duncan had his car right beside him. So, if I can convince him to give me a lift into town, I'll just need to find a home. Well, Bella Goff said she was running out of town, so I guess I can ask her. Duncan says he's all out of donuts, and he says that Mambaloa won't sell him any, but he's pretty sure that she has some. So he wants me to go intimidate her to find out where they are, and if I bring him a donut, he promises that he'll give me a lift into town. After roughing up Mambaloa a little, she tells us that she hides the donuts in the bathroom bin. Also, while we're here, let's talk to Bella about that house. She'll only give it to me if I give her all of my money. Well, I intentionally don't have any, so she agrees to give me the house for free. That's the house down. Now onto the ride. After bringing Duncan his donut, he agrees to give us a ride into town. Before going into the house though, let's visit Dr. Dominic. He wants me to sell him secrets, and even says after 5 that he'll give a bonus. Well, I'll come back to him and his bonus later when I talk about spoilers. And that's where I move on to one of the game's most unique features, and that's the secret system. You can collect secrets just lying around, or you can get close to other Sims in order to learn their darkest, most intimate secrets, or just to sell them off and get some cash. I essentially played as a sociopath, getting close to people, forming deep relationships, only to put the pressure on, intimidate them, learn more about them, and then sell it all off and leave them in the dust. Just be careful, like, you might piss some people off if you tell the wrong secrets. I mentioned skills earlier on. Well, skills in the game sort of serve as a story progression lock or prerequisite for crafting recipes. Yeah, I did say crafting, I'll cover that more in depth later. And the needs system. While it still functions similar to the PC game, it mainly stands to prevent you from grinding a skill indefinitely. For example, watching the cooking channel to level up your cooking skill will make you hungry, whereas painting to increase creativity will make you tired. Remember the house Bella sold me earlier? Well, when you first enter it, you get a cute little jingle and you're introduced to your own maid. She's not too happy to see me though. I wonder what that's all about. Anyway, you can customize the furniture, the walls, floors, and cabinets, but you can't modify any doors or walls. But it does come with a catch. I won't spoil what it is though. You can furnish the house with skill increasing objects and need restoring ones. In fact, while you can find skill objects in your neighbours' homes, you can only find the best ones in the buy mode catalogue. I've mentioned crafting a few times. It's funny, every game these days seems to have some form of crafting system, and so does The Sims 2 for PSP. I didn't really use the crafting system more than 3 times, and it didn't really feel like the perks it gave you were too useful. Apart from perhaps the taser. You are required to craft a few times to complete the game, so it's unavoidable, but it's honestly not that bad, and the crafting resources are laughably easy to obtain. You can literally buy the ingredients for some perks right next to the place you can craft them. The game also features a nice selection of minigames. There's one where you're playing Simon Says with an alien, and then there's another where you're putting the dead back in the ground. I mean, they weren't too complex, but they did get a little bit harder as the levels went up. And you get some money from them. I mean, it's not too much, but then again, I didn't really find money being that much of an issue. Let's talk a little bit about the music. Like the PC game, there are radios that play a variety of different music tracks. And I'll be honest, I barely use the radios at all. So I don't really have much of an opinion on the tracks that play in the game. But I did listen to a few on YouTube and a little bit at the start of the game. And the only one I really liked was the Sims remix from the PC version of the game. None of the tracks in the game hold a candle to the PC tracks. That is, if we're talking about the radio stations. Now the BGMs, they're so iconic. I remember them all these years later, replaying the game for this review. They just stick in your head and they just scream Sims. I would have normally used the BGM from the actual game, but I couldn't do that here because there's just so few tracks. As usual, to avoid spoilers, please use the timestamp below. After selling 5 secrets to Dr. Dominic, he teleports away, and I do a little searching and I find that he's hiding in a secret room that's behind a bookcase. He's changed his outfit and it reveals that he is in fact Dr. Dominion. The Japanese box art for the game sort of spoils this twist, because the subtitle for it is Dr. Dominic no Imbo, or in English, Dr. Dominic's plot or conspiracy. He then proceeds to take over my Sim's mind and instructs her to leave the house, and if she doesn't, her sanity will deplete. But while mind controlled, there's a plumb bob above her head. That's kind of like the PC game, right? Well, throughout the game, there's constant reference to the plumb bob and mind control, and you eventually find out that Dr. Dominion is trying to harness this power. He even goes so far as to summon a giant dairy god called Bizzle Beef. During the final showdown, it's not just your Sim who is in danger, but also you, the player, as Dr. Dominion seeks to take control of the controller after a rather easy and unlosable boss battle. You defeat Dr. Dominion, and the day is saved, he vanishes, and in the final moments, there is a little bit of sequel bait. But there never was a sequel. Despite the game's flaws, it'll always hold a special place in my heart. It's one of those games that's iconic of the PSP for me. It really stuck with me. I had a lot of fun replaying it for this review. It's not even that long. You could probably beat it pretty quickly if you skipped all of this secret gathering. It's well worth playing. I'd recommend emulating it over the original though, just to save yourself from load times. There are parts I left out of the video, like a spooky town called Dead Tree that's got a saloon and the creepy cow cult, although you did see some of that, but to be honest, you need to play this shit for yourself. It's really fun. Thanks for watching. Sorry this one took so fucking long to do, but a lot of real life shit happened. Rather not go into it, but hopefully the next one will come sooner. I'm not promising shit though. Bye!